sit in a crowded room. Laughter bounces off the walls. People share mundane stories. They clink glasses. Still, you feel entirely invisible. You feel like an alien observer. Everyone else received a secret manual. You received absolutely nothing. Your greatest vulnerability is actually a hidden weapon. This feeling is not a malfunction. Society calls it social anxiety. Therapists label it depression. Both are completely wrong. You have tried every social setting. You moved to different cities. You joined new friend groups. You even invented different versions of yourself. Still, something remains fundamentally off. A cold gap separates you from them. Psychiatrist Irvin Yalom named this specific pain. He called it existential isolation. This is not simple loneliness. This is not basic shyness. It is an unbridgeable gulf. Your inner world stands totally apart. No one can ever fully cross over. This terrifies most people. They hide from it constantly. They drown it in useless small talk. You refuse to play that game. You see the gap clearly. You cannot pretend it does not exist. This makes you highly uncomfortable to others. They sense your deep observation. Most videos on this topic miss the mark entirely. They offer shallow life coach platitudes. They tell you to just speak up more. They tell you to find common hobbies. That advice is literal poison for your brain. It violently forces you to conform. Conformity creates even deeper isolation. Let us examine a concrete example. Picture a Friday night dinner party. You force yourself to attend. You smile at the right moments. You nod at their trivial complaints. You perfectly mimic normal human behavior. The hosts think you had a wonderful time. Then you leave feeling utterly drained. Your soul feels entirely hollowed out. You performed a fictional character. The character made new friends. You remained completely alone. Psychology explains this brutal phenomenon perfectly. The need to belong is a primal human drive. Researchers compare it to literal starvation. Surface-level contact is merely junk food. It provides the cheap illusion of calories. It leaves your core system malnourished. You can stand in a packed stadium. You can still starve to death internally. Society tells you to eat more junk food. Society demands you ignore the nutritional void. Here is why this matters more than typical advice. Your brain runs at a higher resolution. Think of a military-grade camera. It captures every single tiny detail. It processes vast amounts of raw data. A standard brain automatically filters this out. Your brain absorbs absolutely everything. Psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski studied this exact trait. He called it overexcitability. This occurs in highly divergent minds. Your brain amplifies 5 specific domains. Emotions hit you like a freight train. Intellect demands constant, complex stimulation. Sensory inputs overwhelm your nervous system. Your imagination constructs entire, vivid universes. Your physical energy requires a constant outlet. This is not a tragic mental disorder. This is extreme developmental pressure. You are trying to run next-generation software. The world relies on outdated legacy hardware. Of course you feel like a glitch. Of course you feel completely alien. The environment is calibrated for a different species, a significantly simpler species, a much quieter species. Let us look at human evolution. The primitive tribe survived through rigid conformity. If you stood out, you were immediately exiled. Exile meant certain, violent death. Your brain developed a tribal death alarm. It screams when you feel disconnected. It floods your entire body with cortisol. It desperately begs you to blend in. Nature actively requires cognitive variance. Evolution constantly takes calculated risks. It intentionally creates strange outliers. It creates brains wired for complex abstraction. It builds minds that recognize invisible patterns. These minds are terrible at mundane tribal rituals. They intensely hate mindless gossip. They passionately despise superficial hierarchy. These minds become irreplaceable during a crisis. When the tribe faces sudden extinction, the compliant followers completely panic. The alien mind steps forward calmly. You are the evolutionary backup plan. You are a literal crisis protocol in human form. Modern life rarely requires a crisis protocol. It mostly requires overly polite emails. It demands forced casual small talk. This creates a truly devastating paradox. You force yourself to learn normal behavior. You endlessly study their strange mannerisms. You practice your facial expressions in the mirror. You deploy this carefully crafted mask. Then you wait for the loneliness to fade. It never fades. In fact, The loneliness ruthlessly multiplies. Science reveals a deeply counterintuitive truth here. Teaching neurodivergent people to conform is deeply harmful. It produces catastrophic psychological damage over time. The pain does not come from physical isolation. The pain comes from the chronic, daily performance. You are actively erasing your true self. You do this simply to stay in the room. This is not a simple social problem. This is a massive identity problem. Social problems require better social skills. Identity problems require an entirely different weapon. You must stop fixing the wrong issue. We call this the wrong planet diagnostic. It splits your internal pain into two root causes. Each requires an exact opposite solution. Pay extremely close attention to this next part. First is the true wrong planet syndrome. This is Yalom's profound existential isolation. The gap between human minds is absolute. It is a cold philosophical reality. You cannot magically fix this gap. You cannot talk your way across it. Yalom taught a brutal form of radical acceptance. You must grieve the childish fantasy of total fusion. Stop expecting anyone to fully understand your mind. Let the impossible fantasy die. Find true peace in the absolute solitude of your intellect. The second cause is the wrong mask syndrome. This is a lethal form of daily identity suppression. You feel massive relief when you are totally alone. You feel exhausted the second a normal conversation starts. You are holding up an incredibly heavy iron shield. The fix is not deeper emotional connection. The fix is purely geographical and environmental. You must seek out spaces demanding your native self. Stop desperately trying to belong everywhere. Start building environments where your strange mind is the default. Stop translating your complex thoughts for average people. Let them be entirely confused by you. Let your high-resolution brain operate at maximum capacity. Some people will intensely hate it. Let them quickly walk away. A truly fascinating realization emerges here. Most people feeling alien are actually in the right place. They are simply wearing the wrong mask. They are wearing it on the exact right planet. You are a wild tiger trying to act like a house cat. No wonder your muscles constantly ache. No wonder you feel slowly driven insane. Drop the pathetic domestic act entirely. Embrace the primal reality of your unique neurological wiring. Your extreme differences are your only true assets. Blind conformity is a slow form of social suicide. Protect your strange inner world with fierce aggression. Treat it like highly classified military intelligence. Share it only with those who earn elite clearance. Stop repeatedly apologizing for your natural operational frequency. The modern world desperately needs your crisis protocol. They just do not consciously realize it yet. You must stand incredibly firm in your isolation. It is the ultimate hidden source of your power. Here is a dark secret nobody ever mentions. Eventually, you will find a few rare individuals. You will drop the heavy iron mask entirely. They will perceive your real identity with total clarity. Then something terrifying happens deep inside your chest. You still feel vaguely separated from them. You are finally truly seen. Yet it still feels entirely insufficient. This reaction is not simple foolish ingratitude. This reveals a much deeper psychological pattern at play. This strange pattern formed long before you had any choice. It was firmly coded into your childhood family system. It silently dictates every single relationship you have today. You were likely labeled the difficult child early on. That simple label hides a genuinely terrifying psychological truth. Click the video on screen to uncover exactly what that means.